Welcome back to Crossover Thursday here, Locked On Seahawks, Locked On Cardinals. I'm Corbin Smith, glad to be teaming up with Alex Clancy of Locked On Cardinals. And we've got this massive game coming up, Week 12, first place on the line. I still can't believe I'm saying that because Seattle lost 5 out of 6 at one point, but they're 5-5, and they are only a game behind the Arizona Cardinals. They win this game on Sunday. They are in first place in the NFC West. It's been a crazy division so far. Alex, looking towards this game, the Cardinals have won 4 straight. They're coming off a bye week. They're going to be fresh. They've got as much momentum as any team in the NFL, but you're still coming to Seattle. The Seahawks are coming off a big win. What do you view, as the keys to victory for the Cardinals to keep this thing rolling at Lumen Field?
So the first one's kind of a mindset thing. It's not like the Cardinals need to instill dominance if they want to really solidify themselves. It's a perfect test for both teams. One, to flip the script, Seattle to emerge as the NFC West leader through 12 weeks, and for the Cardinals to really be like, listen, this isn't 2021. It's not 7-0, 10-2, and then not winning the division that year after having a 3-game lead with like 4 to play when Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach. It's a new team. It's a new organization. They're the Detroit Lions light. This is something that the Cardinals absolutely must do if they want to continue the momentum. Getting a win at Lumen Field is something that is so much bigger than just one game to maintain the lead in the NFC West. Now, how do they do it is they need to exploit the weaknesses of the Seattle Seahawks. And Corbin, you said it first, running the ball is how all of this starts and finishes. That's one of the ways the Cardinals can dominate. And they've shown that way, running for over 200 yards in one of the wins recently, over 150 yards in the majority of games this season without Kyler Murray. But really, the game plan needs to be keeping the Seahawks guessing and exploiting weakness. What maybe you're going to box Kyler Murray eat you alive. You're going to have a light box. James Conner, Trey Benson, and Kyler Murray are going to eat you alive. So really what it comes down to is proof of concept from what we've seen the last 4 weeks, doing it on the road, division opponent, getting your 5th win in a row and solidifying yourself as a team to beat in the NFC playoffs this year, not just 2025.
When I look from a Seahawks perspective, particularly on the offensive side of the football, to me, this is a game the offense has got to step up because that's still the one thing that is holding this team back. And I'm not blaming Geno Smith. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, well, he's got 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Look, half of those interceptions were not his fault. The one he threw on Sunday was a bad throw, but his offensive line has let him down. He hasn't had a run game to complement him for most of the season. But it feels like with the offensive line, the way they're playing, with Abe Lucas and Timmy being in there, that this is an opportunity, especially against the Cardinals front line, as you mentioned. They have not done a great job of creating pressure. This should be a game where Geno Smith is able to have some time back there. You got to be able to pick up the blitzes, though. That's going to be the key. You have to be able to, as an offensive line, be able to communicate, okay, that corner's, Garrett Williams is coming on this play. And make sure you've got the communication on point. And you got a new center, so that is going to be a question mark. Is he going to be able to handle it? 49ers didn't blitz very much in the last game. Arizona is going to send blitzers. They are going to mix in some exotic sim pressures. They are going to do those things. So the offensive line communication is going to be key because I think if they're able to pick those things up consistently and Geno Smith has time to throw, I have great respect for the safeties that the Cardinals have. The young corners are playing really well. But I'm still taking DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Tyler Lockett against those corners. If Geno Smith has time to get the ball downfield, especially at home, I'm taking those matchups all day long. So to me, it's the communication from that offensive line. And I think that also going to help out with your run game. They're going to have to be able to mix in some run to be able to set those opportunities up for Geno Smith. You look at Arizona from a defensive standpoint and how they have to deal with this Seahawks offense. What stands out to you from a keys to victory standpoint?
Secondary, it's going to be the same thing. Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be a problem. I wonder if they're going to put Garrett Williams on him, who can play in the slot. He's been the best corner that the Cardinals have had. I really think that, and I've said this for the entirety of the season, that the Cardinals need to cut the head off the snake. You got to get to the quarterback. Because regardless of how good the secondary has been, I don't trust that as much as I trust, the offense being able to produce. So getting to Geno Smith, maybe making him throw a duck or two, being opportunistic, that's the biggest key for the Cardinals, because while the secondary is played out of their shoes, I don't know if there's an expiration date on that when you go up against an offense that is as potent on paper as the Seahawks have. So, I mean, that's for me. I mean, Garrett Williams has shown he's a top 5, analytic cover corner in the league this year. I just don't know if they're able to withstand the strength headed monster receiver. I don't know if Noah Fant's going to play, but he's a terror in the middle of the field. And then you have the 2 running backs. It's going to be a tough day, but getting to Geno Smith is key number 1.
From a Seahawks defensive perspective, anytime you play the Cardinals, to me, it revolves around the quarterback. And one thing that Pete Carroll did really well, he always seemed to have good game plans for being able to handle Kyler Murray with his mobility and being able to create some pressure. Is Mike McDonald going to be able to do that? He's been more in his bag the last couple of weeks. I will say he has been doing a better job getting his players in position, maximizing their strengths, but dealing with a mobile quarterback. Is he going to be able to do that? Because I think if you can take away that running element for Kyler Murray and you can find a way to bottle up what you've done the last 2 weeks, and the run defense in general is better. You trust your secondary, even against a really potent Cardinals passing game. You trust those guys because, look, Devin Witherspoon, Rick Woolen, and even Josh Jobe, like that's as good of a 3 cornerback group as you're going to see in the NFL. Make them try to beat your strength. And I think that's going to be the key. It all boils down to the run defense and making sure Kyler Murray doesn't kill you with his legs either. And then say, hey, Kyler Murray, you beat our corners. We're going to put that in your corner here. You got to beat Devin Witherspoon, Rick Woolen, Josh Jobe. Our safeties are good too. You have to beat our secondary in this game, and our pass rushers get the opportunity to get after you. That is going to be the key to me. The Seahawks are ironically a 1.5-point favorite in this game at home, even though it feels like it's been 7 years since they've won at Lumen Field. The Seahawks are the favorite. Going into this game, the Cardinals are coming off the bye. They've won 4 straight. I expected that the Cardinals were going to be the favorite on the road in this game, but Alex, when you look at that spread and the Cardinals coming to Lumen Field and just how big this game is for both teams, what is your sense as far as the Cardinals against that spread this week?
I'll take the points. Always take a little juice. I think really what this is going to come down to, for including the over-under, is who can score touchdowns and who's going to hold the opposition to field goals. The Cardinals have done a fantastic job holding opposition to field goals. They held Justin Herbert's offense to 6 field goals or 5 field goals. And they had 400 total yards on Monday Night Football in week 7, I think. Week 7. They've been a great bend, don't break team who's, not giving up a whole bunch of touchdowns inside the red zone. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And the Cardinals need to get 6 instead of settle for 3. They've been one of the best teams goal to go scoring touchdowns. And I think if that trend continues, the Cardinals will get a dub. But it really is going to come down to who can execute inside the red zone, inside goal to go. Touchdowns or field goals will tell the story.
And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's the same thing for the Seahawks, who have the last couple of weeks they've been terrible in the red zone. Now, they took a big step forward in this game against San Francisco. They were much more effective when they did get in the red zone. They were able to finish drives. Can you do that against the Arizona Cardinals? They have been so good this year at turning 6 into 3 or 0 even. You have to finish drives. So it's kind of one of those something's got to give type matchups, which usually means you have a pretty tight game on your hands. And I'm expecting that this is going to be a close one. Don't know if the Seahawks can cover that 1.5 or not, but we will find out.